Unleashed Hollywood News. Inside the explosive Sean Diddy Combs trial, day one drama, legal fireworks, and the A-list web unraveling in court. Welcome to Unleashed Hollywood News, where the untamed truth behind celebrity scandals is always in focus. Today, we're diving deep into the rapidly intensifying trial of Sean Diddy Combs, the music, mogul, and entertainment powerhouse, who now stands at the center of a storm, a high-profile federal trial that could reshape his legacy forever. From chart-topping albums and Grammy Awards to headline-grabbing businesses and public controversies, Sean Combs has always commanded attention. But nothing in his decades-long career prepared him for what he now faces inside a federal courtroom in Manhattan. Arrested on federal charges back in September, 2024 charges that include sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for prostitution, Combs is now engaged in the most consequential battle of his life. His freedom, his fortune, and his future all hang in the balance. And what started as a straightforward trial day has quickly exploded into a legal and media firestorm. Let's rewind the clock to day one of the trial and walk through exactly how this courtroom showdown spiraled out of control before opening arguments even began. The central flashpoint? A single letter filed by federal prosecutors that immediately shifted the tone and raised the stakes of the entire case. That letter, submitted to Judge Arun Subramanian by U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, didn't just mention a procedural concern. It accused the defense team of violating federal court rules and named celebrity attorney Mark Geragos as the possible culprit. Now, for those unfamiliar with Mark Geragos, here's what you need to know. He's no stranger to high-profile trials. He's represented everyone from Michael Jackson to Chris Brown to Winona Ryder. His firm, Geragos & Geragos, has become a legal mainstay in Hollywood and beyond. But in this case, Geragos is not, at least officially, one of Diddy's attorneys. He hasn't filed a notice of appearance. He's not on the official roster of legal representatives. So why was he seen conferring with the defense team during jury selection? That's exactly what prosecutors want to know. According to their letter, Geragos and other members of his law firm were seen consulting with Diddy's legal team in open court, even though he's not recognized by the court as a participating attorney. Complicating matters further, one of Diddy's lead attorneys is Kanye Geragos, Mark's daughter. That family connection adds an undeniable personal dynamic to the courtroom interactions. But this isn't just about family ties or professional boundaries. The bigger concern is what Geragos does outside the courtroom. He's the co-host of the popular podcast Two Angry Men, where he joins forces with TMZ's head honcho Harvey Levin. The show, which has gained significant traction for its insider Hollywood gossip and courtroom analysis, aired an episode the night before the trial began. And in that episode, Geragos spoke directly about the Diddy case. He didn't just mention the trial in passing. He dissected the prosecution's strategy. He analyzed the defense's likely game plan. He talked about the individuals involved, all while knowing that he'd be seated near Diddy's team in court the very next morning. To the prosecution, that's not just unprofessional, it's a direct violation of the court's local rule 23.1, specifically Section C, which bars lawyers or law firms from making any extrajudicial statements that could be broadcast publicly if there's a substantial likelihood they'll interfere with the fairness of a trial. In simpler terms, if it could bias the jury or influence public opinion, don't say it, especially not to a podcast audience of millions. And here's where things get particularly tense. The government's letter accuses the defense of trying to backdoor media messaging through Geragos using someone with known ties to the defendant but who isn't officially listed as counsel to make public statements and sway public opinion outside the rules of the court. It's a tactic that prosecutors argue threatens to derail the entire jury process. Even more ironic, just weeks before this, Diddy's own legal team had filed complaints accusing the prosecution of tainting the trial with media leaks and prejudicial statements. The judge had already warned both sides to avoid public commentary that could compromise the selection of an impartial jury. Yet now, it's the defense under fire for seemingly doing the exact same thing, only through a celebrity attorney with a podcast mic. The timing of it all couldn't be worse. On Monday, the court was in the process of vetting prospective jurors, a critical phase where the judge, attorneys, and jury consultants try to weed out anyone who might be biased, uninformed, or otherwise unsuitable to deliver a fair verdict. And right in the middle of that, Diddy himself made a rare statement. As Judge Subramanian moved through his questions to potential jurors, Combs stood up and quietly told the court, "I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm a little nervous today." It was a human moment rare and revealing from a man whose public image has often been bulletproof. The judge allowed him a brief break, but it's clear that Combs feels the pressure. And it's not hard to understand why. Since his arrest in September, Diddy has been incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a far cry from the luxury homes, designer suits, and red carpet premieres that define his previous lifestyle. He's been denied bail 3 times, despite his wealth, stature, and legal team's repeated efforts. The message from the court has been loud and clear. This is serious. The charges against him are not only severe, they're scandalous. The allegations involve a network of criminal behavior spanning years. Federal agents have combed through private messages, financial records, witness statements, and even surveillance footage to build their case. And if convicted, the fallout won't just be reputational. It could mean decades behind bars. In the courtroom, tension continued to rise when jurors were presented with a list of over 100 names, individuals, and locations that could come up during the trial. Some of those names: Mike Myers, Michael B. Jordan, Kid Cudi, Kanye West. The list was shared as part of the jury selection process so that jurors could identify any personal connections that might bias their judgment. But the inclusion of such A-list celebrities raised eyebrows and speculation. The court hasn't revealed how most of these individuals are connected to the case, but some theories are already emerging. In the case of Kid Cudi, allegations have surfaced in the past linking Combs to an attempted car bombing that targeted the rapper during a relationship dispute involving a former girlfriend. That incident, though never proven, continues to swirl in media reports and online discussions. For now, the connections of other names on the list like Kanye West or Mike Myers remain unclear. But the implication is obvious. This trial is going to pull in some of the biggest names in entertainment, whether as witnesses, victims, or character references. And for a jury, navigating that level of celebrity saturation presents a massive challenge. Can you imagine sitting on a jury where you might hear testimony involving 2 or 3 of your favorite celebrities? That's the tightrope this court must walk. And it's why the judge and attorneys are taking jury selection so seriously. As for the prosecution, their early letter signals a warning. They're not going to let media manipulation fly, even if it comes from someone as high profile and seemingly untouchable as Mark Geragos. The federal team, led by U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton, has made it clear they will challenge every irregularity, every potential advantage, and every questionable tactic used by the defense. The defense, meanwhile, has yet to publicly address the letter or the allegations against Geragos, but the optics are already damaging. It paints a picture of a legal team walking the edge of the rules, exploiting loopholes, and trying to maintain control of the narrative even before the first witness is called. And for Diddy, every misstep matters. He's facing not just the legal consequences of a federal conviction, but also the complete collapse of a carefully constructed public image. Once seen as the polished executive behind Bad Boy Records, Sean John, and a portfolio of successful brands, Combs now finds himself at the center of a dark saga that could dismantle his empire and legacy. This is more than a trial. It's a reckoning. And with the trial only just beginning, we're already seeing glimpses of just how high the stakes really are. Allegations of extrajudicial influence, celebrity involvement, juror intimidation, and media gamesmanship have cast a long shadow over what was supposed to be a simple jury selection. If this is how day one unfolded, imagine what's still to come. So stay tuned, because Unleashed Hollywood News will be following every explosive moment. From inside sources to court transcripts, we're committed to delivering the truth behind the headlines, raw, real, and completely unleashed. This trial is more than a courtroom drama. It's a full-blown cultural moment, and it's only just getting started.